Maybe you've had this thought, if I really trusted God, why am I still so afraid? I've been asking myself that too. A few weeks ago, I found myself sitting on my bed, shaking with fear. And in that moment, I realized that maybe I'd misunderstood what trusting God was supposed to look like. If that's where you are, I want to share what I'm still learning about trusting God when life feels uncertain. For a long time, I assumed that if I really trusted God, I'd feel peaceful. Not because life would suddenly become easy, but because I thought that's what trust was supposed to feel like. So when fear showed up, I started questioning myself. Why am I still so anxious? Why can't I just let this go? Does this mean I don't trust God as much as I thought I did? A few weeks ago, I found out that my position at work was being reduced to part-time. It came during a season when our family was already carrying a lot of uncertainty about the future. I held it together during the conversation with my manager. I stayed calm as we talked through the practical details. And by the time the meeting ended, I thought I was doing okay. But I wasn't. The next morning, I woke up shaking. Not just worried, terrified. I remember sitting on my bed trying to make sense of what I was feeling. Because part of me couldn't understand it. I'd been through difficult seasons before. I've struggled with anxiety for years. But this felt different. The fear was so intense that I found myself wondering what it meant. If I really trust God, why am I this afraid? That question kept running through my mind. And I think that's what surprised me the most. It wasn't just the fear. It was what I thought the fear meant. Maybe you felt that too. Looking back, I think I had a picture in my mind of what trusting God was supposed to feel like. I thought it meant peace. I thought that if I was truly placing everything in God's hands, I wouldn't be carrying so much fear. So when I found myself overwhelmed by anxiety, I didn't just question how I was coping. I questioned whether I trusted God as much as I thought I did. I expected that if I surrendered the situation to Him, and if I really believed He would take care of us, I'd feel different. More peaceful, more confident, less afraid. But that wasn't what happened. And that left me wondering, if trust doesn't always feel peaceful, then what does trusting God actually look like? Maybe you've been asking yourself the same thing. And honestly, I didn't have the answer either. But I knew I still had a choice. I could let my fear pull me away from God, or I could keep turning toward Him, even if all I had to bring Him was my fear. So over the next few days, I kept coming back to prayer. I kept turning to Jesus. I asked Mary to pray for me. I asked St. Joseph the Worker to intercede for our family. And over again, I found myself praying the same simple words. Jesus, I trust in you. I didn't suddenly stop being afraid, but little by little, I began to realize something. Trust wasn't the feeling I was waiting for. It was the choice I kept making. Every time I prayed, every time I turned to God, every time I said, Jesus, I trust in you. I was choosing to trust Him, even while I was still afraid. And maybe that's what you've been doing too, without realizing it. Maybe you're in a season like that right now. Maybe you've received difficult news. Or maybe you're carrying something no one else can see. You've been praying. You've been asking God for help. You've been trying to trust Him, but the fear is still there. If that's where you are, I hope this encourages you as much as it's been encouraging me. Your anxiety doesn't mean you don't trust God enough. Sometimes trusting God doesn't mean feeling peaceful. Sometimes it means continuing to turn toward Him while your heart is still full of fear. As I've continued reflecting on all of this, there's a line from Psalm 56 that captures exactly what this season has felt like for me. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. When I first read those words, something about them just resonated with me. The line doesn't say, when I trust God, I'm never afraid. It says, when I am afraid. The psalm doesn't pretend the fear isn't there. It begins with the fear, and then it chooses trust anyway. That's what I've been learning. Trust isn't something we do after the fear is gone. Sometimes trust looks like offering our fear up to God again and again and again, and choosing to trust Him in the middle of it. I wish I could tell you everything got easier after I realized that. But the truth is, I still have moments where the anxiety comes rushing back. I still wonder how everything's going to work out. And I still find myself praying those same simple words. Jesus, I trust in you. The difference is I no longer believe my fear means I don't trust God enough. I'm still learning that trusting God isn't about never feeling afraid. It's about continuing to turn toward Him, even when I am. I don't know what you're carrying today, but I hope this stays with you. Being afraid doesn't mean you don't trust God enough. Sometimes trusting God just means continuing to turn toward Him, even while you're still afraid. Thanks for being here. God bless.